Hi, everybody. Welcome. Welcome so much. Thank you for coming. We are the AI User Group, and this is AI for Designers. We have a great lineup today. We have a first talk from Ross Patrick, who will be talking about, I was going to say, I'm on the wrong deck, I think. I was going to say, we're going to be hearing from Ross Patrick, who's going to be talking to us about brand creation. And next we'll be talking to Amy He. She'll be talking about her work as a product designer at OpenArt. We will then move into a bit of a panel discussion. So we'll be talking about the future of AI-aided design. And we'll have lots of time for questions and for people to really get in deep on the subject matter. For those of you who don't know us, we are a community of professionals who are figuring out how to use AI in our day-to-day, working out where it fits in our workflows, what are best practices, and how we can make the most of it. So I'd love to welcome Ross Patrick up.
I think I got enough juice to make it through.
Switch you over. Should take a few seconds.
Well, there we go. Okay. Hey guys, this is actually my third time doing a presentation here. I've done one on advertising and I've done one on design. And today we're going to talk mostly about design, but really about brand creation because it's a combination of using all the large language models and all the image generating platforms to create a brand. And instead of just showing you a deck, I decided to just go for it today and jump you right into an actual product demo so you can kind of see it. But this one, instead of waiting for all the prompts, actually did this demo this morning and it's pretty much already in the system. So I'm gonna run you through the whole thing and try and get through it in 20 minutes so we can do some Q&A. And just a show of hands, how many people are using Meta AI? Anybody using Meta? Great, I love it. I'm pretty much a Midjourney person, but I use Dall-E and I use Meta now. And I teach at the Academy of Art University right across the street. I teach a bunch of AI classes there, which has been somewhat controversial because over the course of the last year and a half or so, a lot of artists think that AI is cheating. But if you're good at prompting, it's basically the same thing as just pulling scrap like we used to do, making mood boards, and doing sketching. So I'm going to create a brand from scratch right now. And I just made this brand up the other day just for a demo, and I thought I would share it with you. So here's my prompt. I'm in Meta AI, and by the way, Meta AI is a product of Facebook. You can sign in with your Facebook credentials. It's free. And it's very much like ChatGPT 4.0 and Dall-E together, all in one platform. Do all your talking and all your designing without jumping around. So for first-timers, early AI users, this thing is awesome. So here's my prompt. Let's create a new brand of sunglasses. The company makes high-quality fashion sunglasses and sells online only. The glasses will be sustainable as the frames are made from recycled soda bottles. We will do small limited edition releases of 1,000 pairs per release, and the design will be unique for that release. Thus, the limited edition nature of this will create scarcity and collectability, making the glasses into conversation pieces and adding to the viral marketing of the brand. For every batch we release, we will provide free glasses to inner city kids who can't afford glasses. Wow, I think I stole from like Tom's and a bunch of other brands. Anyway, it's kind of a fictitious brand. So what's really interesting is it writes an entire write-up of essentially the strategy for the brand, even though I haven't asked it to do that yet. So I won't read all that, but it's got the key features, the brand personality, the marketing strategy, the packaging and unboxing experience, the website, and a launch plan. So I asked it to do a product description because I want to know what this product's actually going to look like, what is it going to be. It wrote an intro and it wrote 6 descriptions of the products with full-on descriptions and pricing, which is hilarious, and naming for the products. So I'm going to skip over that, and I'm going to go, let's write a short, succinct brand strategy. my experience with ChatGPT is it'll write like 5 pages of strategy if you let it. So let's just keep it short and succinct. Now, it's already named this brand for me. I'm going to do some brand naming here, but it called it Verde View. We'll just use it as a placeholder. But it's done a mission, a vision, and a values statement. It's given us a brand purpose, a target audience, demographics, market trends, and a UVP, the unique value proposition, a marketing strategy, a competitive landscape, all of that, without much of a prompt. So if you're a designer, this is great because, as we all know, getting a strategy and a creative brief from the marketing team is very difficult. Now, you might get it, but it might be totally useless, and you might have to redo it yourself. Many times we have to rewrite our own creative briefs because our client sends an email saying, help, I need an ad campaign or I need a logo, and that's about all they send. So this is really fantastic for level setting. What I do in here is I'll copy this out, put it in a nice formatted Word document, and send it back to my client for approval. Makes me look smart, makes me also like a part of their team. They're like, oh, look, we have a creative brief now. So don't ever undervalue this part of the process. Then I ask it to write a creative brief because our team needs that. What if I'm sharing this out with the designers? I've got this whole creative brief done. Amazing. I did some brand naming. Hey, let's do some brand naming. I mean, what's our logo going to look like? What are we doing here? So it's got all the names. I'm going to skip over all those. And then we need to do some mock-ups of the product. And so I asked it to help us with that. It gave me a whole plan about how to do the mock-ups. I'm like, that's crazy. I don't quite need that. Okay, let's do this other exercise. Let's write a 140-word mini mantra about the brand that we just created, because I don't like to read all those pages and copy and paste all that crap. 140 words is all I can handle. Boom. It says Vista Vibes, which is just sort of the working title we're using now. Elevate your view. It wrote a beautiful little 140-word mini mantra. And then now I say, let's come up with a series of stunning visuals for our outdoor campaign. These images will be photographed by a top fashion photographer who typically shoots high fashion, sports, lifestyle, and celebrities. Our models will be photographed in tight close-ups to showcase the details of our unique modern sunglasses, and the look will be slightly less than perfect. Our models will have more of a street fashion vibe and reflect the look and feel of the 30-somethings who live in Williamsburg, New York. Render the first series of images and use bold, bright colored backgrounds in these images. Okay, that's a prompt. I made that up. I was just riffing. I have no idea, but here we go. Normally, I would do this in Midjourney. Midjourney's the best for fashion photography. It always does a great job with this. It's not to say that I haven't done this exercise in Midjourney. We can hop over to my Midjourney. You can see I'm an alpha user, so I've got Midjourney Alpha. Hey, look, there's the sunglasses on this really interesting looking couple. But we're going to stick in Meta, and we're going to do this. Now, I've really actually never done this exercise up until like a week ago in Meta. So I was really blown away by the quality of these images. I mean, these are Midjourney level images, and I didn't really have to do very much to get there. Midjourney, as you know, can be painful. Any Midjourney people here? Anybody Midjourney Alpha? Okay, well, you have to make like a lot of images to get to there. But look at this image. Look at the quality of this. I'm blown away. And one of the things that I think we all have to remember as creatives is this is like the same thing you would have done to make mood boards or go to Pinterest or go grab scrap off photographers' websites and try and cobble together some direction for your art direction. Now, if I'm going to go shoot this and I send this in a board to my photographer and they show it to their stylist, guess what's going to happen? We're going to get the colored backgrounds on set. This is even like for casting. And I didn't really like the casting on here, so I kept going and I said, make the hair less perfect. I don't want my models to be perfect. And so I wanted messy hair, which is a prompt I use in Midjourney all the time. I'm liking this a lot. This is great. Okay, so I'm getting my mood boards together. And one of the things we all know about Midjourney and ChatGPT for sure, and it's now true with Meta, is it's not great with ethnic diversity. So I said, let's try more ethnic diversity, and let's see what we got. Awesome. Like, I'm ready to go. These are great images. So I did a few more. I tried to get it a little more street, a little bit more out in the world, a little bit better shadows, just to see what I could do, playing around with this. And when you get in here and you do some modifications, you'll see that you get a lot of different boards. You can go in, you can hit the regenerate and get some more things. So we've got our sunglass brand strategy. We've got a creative brief. We've got a mini mantra. We've actually got product descriptions. We've got photography. What else do we need? A logo. Okay. Meta AI. Is it good at logos? No. It's not great with typography. It's not great with logos. But I just had kind of a wild hair to go, maybe I'll do like a laughing tiger as the logo. And it came up with these. And I was like, okay, well, not exactly what I wanted, but I'm willing to accept that, knowing that I can probably go over and get that done, maybe over in Dall-E over here. Oh, wow, look. Dall-E's pretty good at the tiger logo with the sunglasses. So typically I would have known that and I wouldn't have even tried it in Meta, but hey, we're here to experiment. We want to see what Meta can do. To be honest, yeah, some of the coolest stuff comes out of Dall-E when you do logo work. I've actually sold a couple of logos out of Dall-E to clients, took them into Adobe Illustrator, cleaned them up, vectorized, fixed some things, put some type on it, done, out the door. So it can be done. But let's get back to our Meta AI. We're going to try and do some renderings of the glasses in a studio setup. So if anybody's here is on catalog work or websites and you got to go do product photography, this is what you're going to do. And the photographer is going to want you to pull some scraps and show you some images. Hey, how do you want to shoot this? So for the art directors here, this is a great, great tool. You can show the glasses in the studio setup. It's kind of cool. There's a few hallucinations in here, which always are amusing, but pretty good. This was like the prompt was shoot them on a white plexiglass background, kind of, Apple style. And then I wanted to see if I could put it into some like green grass setups, sort of a nod to our sustainability, see if I could do something a little more interesting. Okay, so now I've got photography on models, lifestyle. Now I've got product photography, playing around with some different models, seeing if I could do some wood frames out in the world. Actually pretty good on these ones. Not bad. So we're just cruising along, and then we want to do some illustration. So if you know Warby Parker as a brand, or brands like Casper, other brands that are out there in the world, they have their whole suite of photography, but they use illustration also. So I wanted to do some illustration, and I'll give you my prompt here because this is kind of a weird prompt. And by the way, Meta can animate your images, which is really cool trick, especially if you're doing TV storyboards and you want to animate all your images and make an animated storyboard. So I said, help us create an illustration style for our sustainable sunglasses brand. These should be retro 1970s style cartoons of urban hipsters with neon pink, vibrant orange, powder blue, and cricket green color palette. There will be funky characters walking around in our unique sunglasses with our signature funky colored lenses. There will be people walking around the streets of Brooklyn, New York, and lots of dogs and friendly hipsters. This is a classic scene from Williamsburg, New York. So I don't know where I came up with that. I was just in Williamsburg, so I thought maybe that's a cool prompt for this. So the thing is, you get a bunch of images, and then you get them like this, and then you can click on it, and you can hit the animate button. And even if this is only just for your self-amusement, this is hilarious. I love doing this. It doesn't take very long. And honestly, what a cool thing if you were doing like some work for your Instagram feed and you wanted to just put this in there. I think this shows off some really cool stuff. Here's a few more. I didn't want to go too deep down this rabbit hole because honestly, I might do these over in Dall-E, but I wanted to see what Meta AI could do. And then I was like, wow, I actually kind of really like this image. Pretty cool. So moving on, trying to keep this under 20 minutes. Hey, I love this trick when I'm using chat, so why not try it in Meta AI? Write 7 Instagram posts for these images. Focus on the people, the place, and the product. Includes headlines, image, body copy, call to action, and hashtags. I love this trick in chat, and guess what? Meta does not disappoint in writing this for me. But this is like a script for maybe your content creation team. It's given me the image description, which is very similar to what I just showed you of those people in the Williamsburg hipster thing. So it's got that, and now it's given me headlines, body copy, hashtags, and call to action. I love the call to action in here. It's given me a shop now and use City 20 for 20% off. Like, how thoughtful of it. Wow, amazing. So it's got that, and then I wanted to write some headlines. Now, anybody that uses ChatGPT knows Chat's not so great with headlines. You can trick it. You can say write some bumper stickers or write some T-shirt slogans or write some taglines for something else, or write some clever tweets. It'll get there. But Meta's a little more casual when it comes to doing this. It's a little more real. I don't know how they got it to do that, and I didn't give it much of a prompt. But I'm trusting that it knows the strategy that we wrote. It trusts me that it knows the creative brief and a little bit of what we've done. And guess what? It did a pretty decent job. So now I've got, shade your face, not the planet, recycle your style. I've got some stuff to work with. Nothing worse than being a designer and your copywriter hasn't given you lines to work with, and you're trying to do some packaging or some headlines, some posters, and you don't have anything. Hey, now you can. I did some other stuff in here that was kind of a fail. But by the way, as we all know, if you're doing AI, plenty of failures. They're just called experiments, not failures. But I got some weird stuff in here, and probably not going to put those into the mood boards, but it was kind of fun to do. And then I had this just other weird idea. Sometimes instead of doing models or illustrations, I like to just mix it up and do weird things. And I thought, wow, why don't I just put dogs wearing the sunglasses? Like, you never seen that one before. So I put a dog wearing a bespoke suit and super hipster colorful sunglasses. And I actually really like having this in the toolkit. As a creative director, I'd love to give this whole entire thread to my design team. They've now got like headlines and imagery and illustrations and starters on the logo kit. Okay, so we're designers. Can we do more with this? I've written out some more tools here for the team. I was reworking sort of the strategy and the brief. I changed the name of the company to Serious Shade because I thought that was funny. It was somewhere in all the writings. And I thought, that's a little more ironic. Let's call it Serious Shade. I was asked this morning in my presentation if Meta AI could write a pitch deck. If this is a startup brand and we want to go get funding, can it do a pitch deck? I said, I can do it in chat. I'm guessing I can do it in Meta AI. So here we go. With this minimal prompt, rework this as a marketing present. Oh, let me go back. I'm going to go back one. I did it as a pitch deck first. Create a pitch deck with a cover page, intro, strategy, brief, products, logo, ads, etc. Include the key points for the marketing launch of this brand. So pitch deck. It didn't have the brand name, so it said insert brand name, but it pretty much knew everything about the tagline, recycle your style. It's got illustrations, it's got images, it's got an intro, problem, statement, solution, strategy, brand identity, products, marketing brief, advertising, influencer partnerships. Wow, how cool is that? The launch timeline, a budget allocation, and a conclusion. Pretty smart. It didn't, it knows what a pitch deck is. If my design team needed to go make a pitch deck and I gave them that, they've got all the images. They can plus this out and they would be ready to go. Think about how much easier my life is if I can just hand this off to the design team. They don't really even need a writer right now because it's done a lot of that. But even if I have a writer on my team, I'm going to hand this to the writer and say, hey, get going and write out more of this. This is your starter kit. They looked at the pitch deck and they said, no. We want this as a marketing presentation. Let's assume that we've got all the funding. Let's go and present this as a marketing deck. So I rewrote it and I gave it the name Serious Shade. So now it knows the company name is Serious Shade. And it did a whole total marketing deck, similar to the pitch deck, a little different with some of that stuff, but it's all there. And then what happens a lot of times is you look at these decks and they only have a few words on them. If you wanted to get deeper into it, you could ask it to give you a detailed 3-month schedule for the team, include details, budgets, and deliverables. Like, How the hell is it going to do that? Well, guess what? It did. It put the whole budget together and the plan. It's got the budget breakdown, the deliverables, and the timing, everything that I would have to go to the marketing team. No offense if anybody's on the account or marketing side, but I just did your job for you. And then I asked it to do a photo shoot budget. It was poorly representing the photo shoot budget. I actually just did a photo shoot budget today that was for a 3-day shoot, and it's more like 150 grand, and this one came in at like 13 grand. So check the math, make sure everything's in there, because you can't really trust it to know everything. But here's another really great trick that you could use if you're storyboarding a photo shoot or storyboarding a TV spot. Ask it to write a 12-frame storyboard. I said this one with cartoon characters, and give me the image suggestions and the voiceover for each frame. This is actually what we do in my classroom across the street. We do these images, we animate them, we drag them into like iMovie or After Effects, we put voiceover and music on it, and we make TV spots, which if you're an agency person, you know they call those like rip-o-matics or animatics, but you can do it with this method. So it just wrote the 12 frames, it gave me image descriptions, the voiceover. I could go over to 11 Labs and get the voiceover done. I could get all the images out of here and animate them and assemble it. Honestly, you could probably do this whole spot in under an hour. So there it is, there's the whole spot. Couple more illustrations I was trying to do out of those, a few more sunglass renders, a few more images for the deck just to show off that we can do this. And then after I did the headlines and the taglines, I wanted to see if Meta could do packaging. Now, I know that Midjourney and Dall-E can do packaging. I was a little nervous about this whole Meta thing. I'm not going to promise any greatness, but it did take a whack at it. We're going to look at a few things here. I mean, it's not horrible. You could put your logo in there and do what you got to do, but it's not really what I wanted. So I'm going to just scoot really fast through here and just show you that I wanted it to be more recycled. I wanted it to be better. I wanted more recycling in here. Come on, show me that it's recycled. Didn't like those prompts, did something weird. Kept going. Boom. I actually really like this. It kind of looks like it was done with a Sharpie on a cardboard box. The vibe is really cool. I should probably just leave it at that. Yeah, I mean, this is to me, I'm on AI anywhere from 6 to 8 hours a day, mostly Midjourney, mostly chat. I do jump over to Firefly. Guess what? Firefly can do your logo too. Don't know if anybody uses Firefly, but you can do a lot in Firefly. You can do a lot in Midjourney. I got some beautiful packaging, but I'm going to say right now, what I'm seeing in Meta AI is pretty mind-blowing. If you're willing to take on the prompting and the failures and just blast through it, this really only takes a short amount of time. When I did this demo this morning, I did it live. I had all my prompts in a Word doc, and I just cut and pasted them in so I didn't have to do my bad typing and all my typos. But it blasted it through. We did it in under an hour, and it just goes to show you, if you know prompting, if you have a concept, if you can write it down or get some bullet points. Even some of the prompting I showed you today was mediocre. I mean, I'm going to say those were mediocre prompts, but I got pretty great results. And I will hand it to the fact that strategy, creative briefs, and all that priming of the pump, it's like warming up before you exercise. If you go to the gym, you don't just jump in and grab the heaviest weights. You got to get warmed up. And warming it up is the key. So if you're a designer and you're like, oh, I'm just going to go make logos and packaging, that's not the process. The process is training your AI so that it knows what you want to do. It knows the intent. And then when you go to do prompting, you don't have to go so deep. You're going to have some missteps. You're going to have some revisions. You're going to have to accept the failures and just roll with the punches. But you see how I went along this path. I got some pretty great results on photography, some pretty great results on packaging. Essentially, I think I could go forward and pitch this brand to somebody like put the deck together and go out with it as is. I don't have to spend weeks or months on it. If you guys are designers and you know what this process is, then this would essentially be your mood boards for everything you're working on, and you could go send your team out to go get this stuff all done. But you could move forward with this after essentially, an hour's worth of work. So that's my presentation for today, and I'm just really stoked that you guys got to see Meta AI, because it seems like a lot of people aren't using it. And I should probably get a kickback from Meta for doing this presentation, but I just want to say I love this tool. I think it's a groundbreaking tool for anybody that's had to suffer through a lot of Discord and Midjourney stuff. And I think also you're going to find that this is only the beginning for all of AI. We're like a baby in diapers right now. We are just getting started. So 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, all of this is going to be different. I promise I'll come back and do it again. But that's it. That's what I got for you today. So I hope you dig it. I think we're going to go to questions, right, Sinead? Yeah. So
I was going to say, let's open it up. I'm going to pass you a mic. If you guys will help me out, pass the mic along. And if you want to stand up if you've got a question, that'd be great. Anybody want to kick us off? Yeah, please.
Ross, thank you for the presentation. May I ask if you mentioned that you do some training across the street, would you be able to provide that information?
Yeah, about 2 years ago, the Academy of Art University asked me if I could teach a class on talk, because I was doing a lot of that for my clients. And it was just the soup du jour. It was just kind of the cool thing to do TikToks. I don't really talk about it that much anymore, but I still do it. But when they asked me to do that, it was 2 years ago, and AI was still just getting going. And I realized that a lot of students didn't have strategic thinking. So I would rewrite their brief, I'd do their strategy and their brief and go, look, if you follow this, you're going to be a lot better. And then I said, do you have a copywriting partner? How are you doing this? Let's do some copywriting. And then I was like, oh my God, let's jump into Midjourney and let's do some images. Like, why are we pulling stuff off Shutterstock or Adobe Stock or Unsplash? Let's make our own, and let's be art directors. Let's make cool stuff. So what we did was we started revamping all the portfolios, and I did kind of a weird thing. I woke up at like 3 in the morning and I wrote a syllabus using ChatGPT about what this course would be, and I emailed it to the president of the school. And I didn't follow the protocol. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. This is a class I want to teach, and it's called AI for Advertising. And in that class, we do copywriting, we do art direction, we do storyboarding. And I've been teaching that class now for just over a year, and hugely successful. And now I've just got 3 more classes coming out. AI for design, AI for everyone, which is kind of like what we just did here. And then another higher level one that's called AI empowerment for creativity. I did not name that one, but the president of the school said, can you write some more AI classes? And essentially what that means is you could take the class online, or you could take it in the classroom. And those classes are meant to show you a lot of what we just did here. But specifically, there's advertising ones, there's design ones. What we saw in this one was really, if you're a marketer, you could be, on the account team and take this class and really, really, learn your thing. But what the president of the school is driving towards is she wants there to be an MFA in AI for creatives. And I took it as a huge compliment that she wants me to create all these classes, but essentially it's like writing a 15-chapter book with about 3,000 words per chapter. And now this summer I wrote 2 of those books. And last spring I wrote one, and then last fall I wrote one. So I've written 4 books on AI now. They own them. I would like to publish them some other way, but it's been a real crazy moment, because I had to do what you just saw to create the classes. Okay, I'll do a brand invention class. And in that one, we did a fake ice cream company, a fake sunglasses company, a fake just fake, 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 all these different brands and companies that I came up with. So those classes haven't actually, the AI for Everyone class hasn't started yet, starts in September. But honestly, this is, I think, this is the first school that's teaching AI creative things. If you see like Stanford or MIT or even, any school that's teaching AI, they're teaching the data side. Nobody's really teaching this yet. It's just too early. And I know teachers at other schools around the country, and they're showing me what they're doing, and I'm like, no, it's not happening. So what you saw here is really the first time nobody's actually seen this class that's going to come online in September. You guys are the first ones to see it. But I do think that what's going to happen is there is going to be a tsunami wave of AI stuff going on. But, I feel like I can be a little bit of a snob about it, because if you're really good at Midjourney or you're really good at Dall-E, that's great, but are you using it in your day-to-day? Is it in your workflow? And so my other side hustle is I'm teaching ad agencies and marketing departments and in-house creative departments how to use this. So my talk today, this morning, was showing this demo to a corporate client that owns about 20 brands. I won't say their name, but they have 30 designers that were on the call, and they're all trying to learn how to do this. And who's going to teach ad agencies and marketing departments and creative in-house departments how to do this? It's a huge obligation to figure it out. And as much as it's a powerful tool, they don't know how to get it in the workflow, because they've got budgets for their projects, but you want to burn client dollars on your team floundering around and maybe not getting there? So we're still, like I said, we're like a baby in diapers on this. You could take university classes. You could keep coming back to these talks and get more teaching on this. If you're a working professional at a high level, I'd be happy to talk to you, because I've actually got some clients from these very workshops, and some of them are really bizarre. They want me to talk about real estate. They want me to talk about, cybersecurity, whatever. But somehow there's always a relevant piece to this of how it could work with your team or your company. So yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Ross. That was absolutely brilliant. I'm looking forward to our chat later on. Everything you have going on with the MFA coming
Cool.
online. It's amazing.
Cheers.
Brilliant. I was going to say next we will welcome Amy, but just as we're going to get set up for that, I was going to say we are always on the lookout for speakers. So if you have got a feel for it now and you think you would like to take part, let's see. Hopefully. One day. There we go. If you would like to take part, our next event will be on September 11th. So if you are a designer, if you're involved in graphic design, UX design, product design, come have a chat. Come find me afterwards if you think you might be interested in speaking. It's okay if you're new to a tool or process. We would love to hear about it, how it's going in your workflow, and how you're getting on with it, basically. So now we'll welcome Amy. We'll just take a couple of moments and get set up here. Let you plug in here.
It's not showing up yet. There we go. Okay, great. All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. Very excited to share something
We've learned about AI as insider designing for an image creation tool, and it's so cool to hear about Russ' experience playing with Meta AI, and I'm very excited to share some insights around how we're building an image generation tool and what are some learnings we have along the way. So a little bit about myself. Great to meet you. I'm Amy, and I started my journey of careers as a UX UI designer at some giant company like Intel, and then transitioning into startups at For Health, and I was the 9th employee at Clockwise, an AI scheduler tool, and I've spent 5 years there. Last year, I joined OpenArt, building something very exciting, also with AI, and focus on image generation. And I'm very excited to share some of the learnings I have at OpenArt. And as the company size I've joined are getting smaller and smaller, I felt like the opportunities are just growing and more exciting, especially at the current time of having AI blooming so fast. A little bit overview about what I'm going to talk about today. First, just a quick summary in one sentence. OpenArt is an image generation platform that allows you to create and edit images. And what I'm sharing today are 3 key learnings and insights we got from doing user research in-house. And then, if I have time, I wanted to do a quick product demo to showcase how our approach informed some of the design decisions in the product, and then open it up for a Q&A. It all started with a key question. Why our users are trying to use AI to generate image? The question has guided our journey at OpenArt in doing a lot of user research. We've heard a lot of anecdotal thoughts at first. It's like some people are just experimenting with AI. Some marketers are creating images for their blog. Some are creating just for creative expression, like it's a creative outlet, because they don't have the skill to paint or as an artist, but they love just creating things and seeing them come to life. And there's just so much, and every day we see millions of images being generated in our platform. But we're struggling with how can we build a product that's useful without knowing who exactly are the users behind it. So we've conducted a lot of user research, and here are a few insights that I wanted to share with y'all. The first is a learning. It's on a higher level, other than just their workflow and what they're doing, is AI is empowering new creators, not just taking away jobs. I know a lot of times we feel like once we have amazing AIs creating images, it's replacing human jobs as illustrators or designers. But it's so inspiring to see a lot of users are starting their business or creating new ventures because they have AI image generation tools. Like Bettina is a user in UK. She's a nurse practitioner, and she's starting a print-on-demand shop at Shopify with OpenArt being the image generator of some very nice doodle mugs, because she saw a niche. And in UK, a lot of people are having doodle dogs, but there's not much merch around that specific type of dogs. So she started to use OpenArt to create images and then sell it on Shopify. And a direct quote from her is, "Without OpenArt, I would never have started my print-on-demand business." And I was like, wow, that's so great to hear, because she didn't have the budget or time to hire a designer to help her do that. And another quote we got from our Discord channel is, "I hire OpenArt to generate RPG elements for my D&D campaign. It's not replacing any artist because I'd never hired anyone to do it." And that's a great quote for me to learn as well. They are not artists or designers to start with, but because they saw the potential of using AI to do it, they're starting to create their new ventures. And what it means for us as a product is we need to create experiences that are intuitive for beginner, but also scalable as they grow. Help us understand that a lot of users were not designers or creative professionals when they started using it. But as Bettina is creating more and more images for her Shopify shop, she would have more needs and requirements. So we wanted to make the UI very easy to understand, but customizable enough so that she can realize her creative vision. And the next learning we have is, as we started to talk to users, for each study we talked to about 15 or 20 users in a specific group or based on their metrics. And we were overwhelmed by the use cases at first. It's like, oh, there is a Doodle Shopify shop, there is D&D usage, and there's just so many usage out there. But as we started to talk to more users and synthesize the research, we find that there are some common themes that are emerging in what jobs they're trying to get done. So we have started to synthesize them into a few of the archetypes. And what we mean by archetype here is not persona, because for persona usually defines for a specific role or job title or a type of user. For archetype, we summarize it based on their motivation. What are they trying to do? So the names of the archetypes are visual asset creator, concept explorer, storyteller. Sorry, they're small here, but I'm going to dive into one example so that I don't overwhelm everyone with the archetype. Here's one archetype of the 4 types we summarize. We call them concept explorer. These users rely on AI for some early stage creative work, like brainstorming and concept development, in fields like fine art or character design and brand design, as Russ has mentioned in some of the examples he gave, which are great examples. We've heard from an artist that he would upload some of the half-painted drawings into our platform and have different prompts for different color scheme to see what kind of painting direction he would like to take. And it used to take him much longer to visualize it by hand and see the paintings. But now it's much easier with AI. So that's the main jobs to be done. And their main challenges from talking to them is finding the right style and effectively communicating their ideas to the AI. And that's where we listed out as pain points. And to support them, we find that we need to focus on features like supporting them with a lot of style libraries so they don't have to navigate through the complicated prompting system. And the ability to provide multiple references, like the artist would want to say that I wanted to see this painting in this composition or this painting in that specific styles. Those are the ways they wanted to communicate with AI. But a lot of times it's hard to navigate how exactly can you convey that to AI, although you know that AI should understand it. But the prompt engineering could be hard to figure out. So the main goal for us as a product is to help them iterate quickly and refine their concept more effectively. So again, this is one example. And by doing the whole exercise of building archetypes, we were able to find out, oh, we actually can put all the users we interview into one of the 4 buckets. And that helps us, when we're building product, we can have better focus. So that leads to the insight I'm going to share. The insight here is once we've applied the jobs to be done framework and synthesizing those archetypes, they help us bring focus in the product development process rather than feeling overwhelmed by all the current tech. Like there's so many things we can do with AI now, and then there's so many feature requests. We can now prioritize based on which archetype we want to support and what are the jobs to be done behind it. And this also ensures that when we're building an AI product, we're not just shipping things for the sake of shipping. We're always thinking about, oh, this feature would help the concept artist and the story visualizer to get their jobs done better. So that's one insight. And here's my favorite learning. As we all know, creativity is really a straight path. And I'm curious for the audience here, how many of you are familiar with the double diamond design process diagram? Yes, I saw a lot of hands because we're in AI for Designers series. I always love the double diamond process. And when I was synthesizing some of the research, we find out that when we are creating with AI, the creative process is actually similar. A lot of times we would expect AI to return things to us in just one conversation or one submission. But trial and error and being able to iterate on the images are crucial when you actually wanted to use AI as part of your workflow. When I first started using AI, I would type in something like a cat playing piano, and then I'd get some amazing images. I was like, oh my God, this is great. But when I first tried to use AI to generate some images I wanted to use in the product for UI, It took me a day, and and I just felt like, here, I wanted to change this part. I like that part, but not that part. So we've summarized it into our own double diamond. That is, in the product, we wanted to support the workflow of users would need to discover their styles they want, the models they wanted to use, look at other people's work to see what they wanted to create, and then they would go to AI to generate things. That's a convergence. And once they created something they like, they might want to either iterate on it by doing some reruns or doing some original in-painting so that to change a part, it works so that it works for them. And lastly, they will pick one and share, and even share with some of the teammates to collaborate, and that's another convergence. So recognizing AI as iterative help us build product better in a way that we know that we need to build for the end-to-end experience instead of thinking about AI as just powerful tools. Because at one point, our product provides so many powerful tools that a user and user research describe to us, they feel like they're constantly jumping in hops and like going to one feature, do this thing, and then going to another feature, do that thing. That's something we wanted to avoid. We know that's not enough to just offer isolated features. We need to build for the entire creative journey and build for an end-to-end experience. So here are some examples of how we're doing it in products. On the left side, it's an example of me wanted to create a cat drinking wine, but in a specific style of watercolor I saw somewhere else. So I can upload it on OpenArt as a style reference and put it in and putting a prompt of a cat drinking wine and getting some image back. And once I find one that I like, but I don't really like the wine glass here, it's green and it's small. I wanted something that looks more like a cap, not a white wine. So I could go into the editor to edit it on a canvas, change it to another wine. And if I like this cat drinking wine concept so much, and I started to create more and more of it, and maybe I wanted to open a print-on-demand shop eventually, I could train it to become a model that I could use, and it would make it much easier for me to create this type of image consistently. So that's another feature we have as model training. And we're working, of course, a lot of features still feel like they are separated from each other, but we are working towards a vision where everything feels so seamless that I don't have to know where to find that specific thing to help me get the job done. So that's a little bit about the insights and learnings I wanted to share from our user research. And I'll do a quick demo of OpenArt itself to show you some specific decisions we've made in the product. Let me see if I can mirror my screen. Otherwise, I have to stay. Sorry. Nice. Okay, great. So here, I am in the creator of OpenArt. In the product, we wanted to make sure users understand how, what are the key things we can do, and we synthesize it down to create and edit are usually the main two entry point. And in our creation panel, you can see that on the left, we have provided a few references that users can provide to us, like style reference, pose reference, composition reference, face reference. That was inspired by a lot of users saying that, oh, I just want to create this image in this composition. How can you help me to do that? And sometimes they even try to describe it with prompt. So what this here is an example of how we have incorporated those learnings into the product features to support the jobs to be done. And another one that I wanted to share is a workflow of, we find that a lot of people would come to our product, generate something, and then they would go to Photoshop or Affinity to put one thing on top of the other because they like specific thing of AI generated in one image, but they like the other cat or dog in another image, so they wanted to combine it. Or I've also heard from a photographer that he likes to create concept photography work, and they find that in with AI, it's very hard to create a very delicate forest scene with a small lady figure in the middle because the face is usually not great. But then he would go to Photoshop to combine two images generated in AI and then put them together. So what we have just shipped, I think 2 weeks ago, is the concept of blend board. And I wanted to showcase it as an example of how we're trying to support the creative workflow so that users don't need to go to OpenArt for one thing and then another product for the other. Oops, I think the monitor zooming is a little bit weird. Let's see. Sorry, I think the screen mirroring are making it a little bit hard for me to maneuver this. I think the left and right are reversed. Bear with me for a sec until live product demo is always nerve-wracking. Okay, I'll just let it stay like that. For example, if I have an image of a very nice couch and I felt like there's something missing, I wanted to add a cat on top of it. So what you can do is go to blend layers and add an image layer of a cat, for example. And we have automatically removed the background for users. I could still show background, hide background. But even if I remove background, the cat doesn't look like it's blended in, and it feels like it's pretty obvious that the cat is photoshopped in. And also by this point, you should know I'm a cat person, because those are all cat examples. And if I click blend, I will see the AI is trying to blend it. And one detail I wanted to add is this feature enables users to keep the background image consistent, which is very hard to do in a lot of the other AI image generation tool I've tried. Usually when I paste two things together and go to other tool for an image to image, it would give me a very nice blended image, but the background is different. So my cat is no longer in the room I want the cat to be. It would be a different room. Sometimes it works. That's why we have the setting of creative blend, that is like creatively blending everything. So the tree might look a little bit different, the painting might look a little bit different. But, well, the waiting time is a little bit long. Oh, here it goes. Now I have a cat. Maybe I need to fix the shadow a little bit, but you can see even the paws of the cat are literally sitting on the couch and the texture are matching. So I'm able to see the cat sitting on the couch and not having to use Photoshop to worry about all the borders and everything. But I felt like for this image, somehow there is a glow, which is something we have to fix. With AI, there's sometimes failures and trial and errors. But that's just one example I wanted to show on how much thoughts we put into leaning into users' workflow and trying to provide them with tools that can get the jobs to be done for them. And hopefully one day you can actually talk to OpenArt and not have to learn all the UIs and stuff. That's eventually our vision. But right now, we find that providing support, providing guidance, and a lot of customization to users so that they can realize their creative vision is a very rewarding journey. And hope the things I shared to all of you can give some food for thoughts for you. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Amy. I was going to say, do we have any questions? Anybody got anything they'd like to ask? We have a great tool here. It'd be nice to maybe do some audience little demos and things if possible. Yeah, let me run you.
I'm curious if in your research you came across people who were already familiar with the technical terms of Stable Diffusion and wanted to know, what does this actually do under the hood? Is that something? Have you considered doing something where you can hover, maybe a pro mode or something where you hover over a feature and it says, oh, this is actually image to image, or this is IP adapter, or whatever, those things are. Have you worked with that at all?
That's such a great question. I saw Coco, our CEO, is smiling down there because we ran into this a lot and we have to balance it. Let me see if I could get the weird zoom. I don't know. Okay. Sorry. I wanted to show an example of how we're trying to balance it. Sometimes when in user research, I did hear users telling me a lot of terms that I don't know. Actually, yesterday, I talked to a user who is a director of data science at an electrical car company, and his hobby is playing with AI and making images. And he's getting very deep into training model data set, and I need to do my research, but there is something about deference and then also a grid of facial expression and how he wanted to tweak all that while training his own model. And those are the things we're constantly learning and trying to see what are the things we wanted to change the terms and explain to users, and what are the things we don't have to expose. And one great example is in the image reference, there is one called Advanced, and we put ControlNet next to it, because for users who actually wanted to use ControlNet, there are a lot of settings, like the mode. I, as a designer, didn't know what it all means. I eventually learned so that we can use those as the underlying technology to build the face reference, pose reference, composition reference. But for users who are familiar with it, we still wanted to provide those options to them. But in another user research I've conducted, the user actually shared screen and told me that, I don't understand what ControlNet means. This is confusing. So I guess it's always a balance and see where we wanted to focus more as a business. It's a great question.
Excellent. Brilliant. Another one here. Great.
Thank you. I know OpenArt in the past has imported models from, I guess, what people have developed, and also had its own models as well. Is OpenArt's intent in the future to continue to feature lots of different models, or to mostly focus on its own?
Great question. So right now we see ourselves as a layer on top of models to help users leverage those models better and create things with better control. So we see ourselves getting more models, and also we wanted to connect with the best models out there. We've just added Flux to our platform, and it's been working really well. I've had a lot of fun playing with Flux, and we have Dall-E as well. And we're hoping that someday we can connect to Midjourney, because I would love it. I find that different models have different strengths, but what OpenArt is strong at is providing controls and an easier to use UI for you to create and edit.
Anybody else there? I was going to say, if not, I have one about your research process. It sounds like your research is democratized amongst the team. Are you interviewing users? How is that working?
Oh, great question. Yeah. I am interviewing users. Coco, our CEO, is also interviewing users. We interview users together, and then we wanted to make it a team effort as much as possible.
Okay, excellent. Anybody else? Any other questions about OpenArt or process? Coco is like beaming down at the back. You want it? Hang on, let me run you a mic.
I have a question for Amy. Which is, is OpenArt hiring? And then if OpenArt is hiring, what kind of talents is OpenArt looking for?
Yes, great question, Coco. What a nice planted question. Yes, OpenArt is hiring, and we wanted to hire junior designers, and we would love all levels of designers, and including juniors, because I know that for startups, a lot of times we're only looking for senior, but we are welcoming all levels of designers who are passionate about designing for AI and are interested in joining a team that use a human-centered approach of designing, and that's my favorite part about one of my favorite part about the team. We have a great team, a great product, and we'd love to hear from you all. You can email me, amy@openart.ai for learning more information.
Brilliant. That is so exciting because, as you said, there's not that many junior design roles these days. So that's really, really great to hear. Brilliant. I think we will wrap up then and we will move on to our panel. Let me switch over here. Yeah, you're good. So if you want to take a seat, and we'll get Ross in. Yeah, please. So I kind of want to open it up to a bit of a discussion. And I suppose we've heard so much from both of you, and there's a mic there.
We actually just want to talk together. We
Yep,
don't really
so-
need
so
you. I'm just kidding.
If you don't need me, that's
kidding.
totally cool.
I'm just blown away by OpenArt. I've tried it before, and it's pretty cool. And it's come like a long way in a short period of time. So, you know, I was bouncing around between a bunch of different platforms, and I don't use OpenArt. But I just looked at my account, and I actually have used it. So, pretty cool.
Awesome.
And I'm going to start asking Amy about hiring some of my students because they're all educated in AI, and they don't really, they don't really fit in right now because they have this super cool thing that they can do. But what are agencies? A lot of agencies in town have told me that they can't use AI at work. Omnicom, bunch of the agencies here in town. So it's this weird thing. Or some of them say, oh, we can't use ChatGPT and we can't use Midjourney, but we can use Firefly. And so it's like, okay, what's going on? So I actually wanted to get this question to you, and it'll be on behalf of everyone. What are the legal usages of those images? I know that was your cat, but if I just put a cat in there and did an image generation, can I legally use those images?
Great question. Is my mic working? Okay, great. Of course, it's always evolving in terms of the privacy law around and also the copyright law around AI image usage. But as of right now, if you generate it with AI, it's all free for commercial and personal usage.
So it's okay to use those images for commercial.
Yes.
But what about someone in the room is going to say, yeah, but what if that was in the style of a famous painting? Maybe the long dead painter. Or what if it's a current painter or artist whose style is recognizable? What are the issues around that?
Yeah, it's a very controversial topic.
I know.
And I would love to hear about your thoughts on it as well, because you have been in touch with more agencies. And one thing that I've learned from users of OpenArt is a lot of them are not using it for professional use, in the sense of putting it as an ad out in the billboards, something like that. They use it for concept explorations. So I think there's the industry concern around it of wanted to avoid being sued if I'm a big company and I use an image. But then for smaller individuals who are not as nervous about being sued, I felt like everyone is more relaxed around it. But to be honest, I don't know where the line is at maybe I should know it clearer.
No, I think we're all going to find out. So I've sold a few images to companies that were small, but now I have some big companies that are asking me if I can sell them an image. And so I had this question today. That's why I was like, you can get your lawyers, because you're a big company, you have lawyers, get them to look at the transcript of my prompt, because I'm not name dropping a photographer or an artist. I'm just pulling from 10 million images that are out there and getting that image. So I guess I'm going to find out, but I just was curious because you work for OpenArt, and I'm sure that question is like a daily question about the legal issues. And your point's great. If you have a small client who's like, who's going to sue me, and you're not stealing an obvious art form or artist, I say have at it. But if it's a big company, and the company that asked me today is, let's just say, the largest beer company in the world, they could get sued and they could get in a lot of trouble. So they want to do it. I'm sure they're going to get their lawyers to figure it out. But this is where we're all at this crossroads, because honestly, Midjourney can pull any style, living, dead, anything. You name a photographer, it knows how to do that style. If you name an artist, it can do Picasso. It can do, it can do anything.
Yeah.
And so you have to be super careful about your prompt transcript, because if you got sued, they're going to go look at it. And Adobe says that they'll defend you in court if anybody tries to come after you, because they're pulling from their source. Where's OpenArt pulling from? Just the entire universe?
You mean for our models?
Yeah, like if I prompt it and say, yeah, I want an image of a cheeseburger and sitting on the couch, it's going to pull from everywhere, right?
Yeah, a great question. It depends on which model the user choose. And some models have like clearer description of where they pull the data set. And some models are actually trained by the users. And that's something we find that could be a useful thing. For some of the users that are more conservative, they would upload a lot of artwork that they created, and then they train a model on our platform, and it's private, so they can create images that they're not pulling. Well, of course, the underlying model is pulling from the universe, but
they can use their images.
Yes, yeah, because
So
they train it from Python.
it's when it's protected or whatever. Like, so a big company is really going to be super serious about their data. You're building a special firewall for them, or it's just built in with that protected image. That image can't leak out to anybody else.
For the private model, yes. The images are not being used by any other models. They're just using the data set they provided to generate images.
Is that just a setting, or do they have to get that set up by you guys?
They have to use our model training feature, and it's a paid feature for subscribers.
Yeah, okay. So that's what Adobe and other AI companies have promised, that they will set up either a protected area for you to play with your data and your images. So you could be Nike and put your logos all and your shoes all up there, and then do a whole bunch of playing around without your data being leaked. That's what you guys are doing?
We're not specifically targeting enterprise yet.
But that's where it's going.
Yeah, there could be where it's going.
Okay.
Depends on whether we focus more on like the small businesses and what we call prosumers. A lot of people are using AI image generation for hobby as well, and for side business. And for enterprise, then it involves dealing with their data set, and they have specific styles, and they would want SOC 2 compliance and everything. That's something that we're actively discussing internally on how we wanted to take the product and where we wanted to prioritize.
Cool, thanks.
Thank you for a great question.
See, I told you we could just do this together.
Absolutely. You really don't need me. But to kind of zoom out a little bit, you guys have showed, you showed OpenArt, you've showed Meta AI, Midjourney, all of that. What other tools are you using? It might be personally, might be outside of design. What's on your list?
Go for it.
In terms of AI tools and automation, anything?
Yeah, so I use GPT daily, and it's actually on my phone's quick access.
Your home screen, you're ready to go.
Because I find that sometimes we'll forget some of the simple things I wanted to get opinion on, or I'm doing a house renovation, so I wanted to know what's the thing that go under the wood floor my contractor told me to buy. And when I Google it, it's more time consuming because there's a lot of information. Well, they now have the AI response, but I just find that having an assistant that understands my goals and budget and just can give me advice on everyday things, it's very helpful. And then for design, I also use GPT, I use Midjourney, I use OpenArt. I find that there's different strength for different products, so I love trying out new things.
So you're
as well.
bypassing Google, you're just going straight to GPT. Kind of.
When I'm buying things, I use Google.
when you have to. Okay.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Ross?
I'm going to say this exact same thing. I jump around from Midjourney to ChatGPT to Dall-E to Meta. It turns out I have an OpenArt account. But I have a similar thing where, because I've been writing a lot and doing research a lot, I'll just ask ChatGPT 4.0 what I want, or give me a list of things that I need. And it's like, you know, you've got this super high IQ partner who can answer any question or give you a list of questions that you can then go, you can take from the list of questions and ask it specifically, okay, answer that. Forget Google or just searching for things on the web. GPT is insane. And it makes you smarter and more thoughtful because it's giving you a lot of things you might not want to go read a book. So, like, I'll reference a specific book for a class, and I'll know, you know, there's a thing in there. Can you explain that thing for me? And it knows the book. I don't have to upload it. I don't have to do any of that. I don't have to cut and paste. It knows the book, and it knows exactly what I'm asking, and it gives me a little paragraph from that book boiled down into, you know, 140 words. What a cool thing. If you're building a house or you're building a whatever, it'll help you figure out your list of supplies, maybe even give you a list of places where you can go get it, and then you go get it, right? Yeah, it's insane.
And in terms of testing new tools, because like even among your design stack, there's so many different tools there. Are you spending time trying every new thing that's coming out, or how is that working for you in terms of weeding through things?
Go for it.
Oh, I felt like there's just so many
Yeah.
things to try out. And for me, anything related to image generation, I try to download every app on the App Store that provide it to see what's out there and also like their interaction pattern. That's something I love.
Okay.
And then for general AI tools, that's something that I love. Just play. I wouldn't say I have played with every chat tool because ChatGPT 4 is working really well for me. Usually it's when a friend or coworker mentioned that there's something very cool coming up, that's when I would try it. But I think as designer, the more AI tool I've used, a lot of times I would get inspired by how they've treated some like small details or the way that they interact with human beings. Because I think interaction is the hard part because AI has so many things in their mind already. And I always feel like I'm standing on a giant's shoulder, just like Russ said. It's super high IQ, and how do I leverage the fact that I'm already standing on a giant's shoulder? It's something that I love playing with other AI and seeing if the giant is getting taller. That's something that's very cool as well.
Wow. So I mentioned that I teach TikTok class, but I spend a couple hours on TikTok every morning looking at AI stuff, trying to see what the rundown is, who's doing what, and then I go to that site or download that app. So I do the same thing. And a lot of them are not delivering on the promise. So you go and you check it and maybe check back later to see if it's coming along. And one that I will share with you guys that is probably blown my mind even more than Meta AI, and it's called Suno. It's a songwriting platform. We did it in my classroom. I actually did it for one of my clients just this week, and I wrote a song for them. And
we love D. What's up? What's up? Yeah, hold me one up. Here we go. Seagram's vodka all the way. We're bold and fearless and here to stay. Yeah, we're the makers and doers. We're the spirit that's true. Seagram's vodka all the way. We're made for you. That's how we do. Where you at? Seagram's vodka, come on. Seagram's vodka all the way, yo.
so you could tell who the client was on that one. Yeah, Seagram's vodka, people. $9.99. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that's so crazy is that, and by the way, I've got like over 100 songs written in that thing. Country songs, rock songs, rap songs. I mean, you know, the thing that's going on right now in our lifetime with AI is just so crazy. I mean, you're so stoked to be working for OpenArt. That's amazing. I'm stoked because I get to teach it and then I get to sell it to clients as well. This is just a rare moment really rare moment in time.
I was going to say, just following on that, like because you're changing the way you deliver to clients, you're thinking, oh my God, I can give them a song now. I can give so many more pieces. How do you see, to both of you, how do you see this role of designer shifting and changing?
Well, I mean, you know, the saying that has been going around for the last couple of years about AI putting people out of work, and AI won't take your job, but somebody that knows AI will take your job. And sadly, in my agency, you know, at the beginning of COVID, we had 35 people, and we actually just kind of piddled out during during COVID. We just couldn't do it. I started a new agency, started doing a bunch of the things we did before with 35 people, but I would just use freelancers, and then I just would not use freelancers because I can do it now. I can write the copy. I can do the strategy job. I can do the design. Now, I still hire illustrators, production artists, and production companies to do the photography, the video, the editing, all that. I still am making real stuff, but I essentially don't have to go to my team anymore, which is really sad because they're friends of mine that I've worked with for a long time, and I know they're hurting for work, but you know, I'm getting work, but I just can do it myself, and I don't have to wait for them. It would have taken me like 2 or 3 weeks to do what I did yesterday in one day by myself, and you know, writing headlines for Smirnoff vodka. I mean, like, I'm not really a writer, but I've been in the business for 30 years, so I you know, I know what I'm doing. But that is crazy, and that's what, I mean, it's kind of exciting that you're here doing this, that you want to do this, but my advice is get on it and get good with it. If you walked into an ad agency and you knew how to do the things that we're doing, you can get a job. Marketing department, design group, whatever creative function you're doing, if you know how to use the tool, you're going to be the next generation. And this happened, you know, this has happened a couple times in my lifetime. When the Mac came out, when the internet came along. I mean, this is bigger than both of those. And so, you know, that's why, you know, I'm in awe of the fact that you're working at an AI company, because that's such a smart move. If anybody here is looking to, hit Amy up for work, that's brilliant. I think if you could get a job at Adobe or at OpenAI or at OpenArt, anywhere that's doing this, it's gonna be huge.
Cool. You want to weigh in, Amy?
Yeah, echo a lot of that. And I know a lot of illustrator friends, and when I started to like build OpenArt and work for OpenArt, I think about, oh, it's so sad. I used to feel like they can do magic, and now AI is doing magic, and I can have all the cute avatars created by myself. And one day I have a thought when I was going in a museum, seeing those nice fine art painting of like real, like photorealistic portraits that was painted by the artist before photography exists. I was thinking camera must took out a lot of the job for those artists who have trained for their whole life painting those very photorealistic paintings, because the job to be done there is to capture what you look like, and you have to be very wealthy to commission that piece of art. But one day you can just get a photograph, and now I can just do it for you in my phone. And I realized that's just a part of the revolution. And with the role of designer, I personally felt like it's a lot of role in the design process has been replaced by AI. Like, in my previous startup, I felt the need for working with a content strategy or AI or UX writer so much, because I felt like I wanted to convey this and this and that, but I want the tone to be friendly and this and this and that. And now I could just talk to ChatGPT, and it would give me a product copy that sounds amazing, and I could just put it in my design, and without having to feel like I either need to like be very good at that skill or work with an expert in it. But meanwhile, from observing how I've been using AI in my design process, I think what's not being replaced is synthesizing the goals for a project and working with different like people from different teams, like synthesizing. For example, for UX design, what are the engineering technical constraints? What are the design goals? What's the user need? And then what are the business goals? And being the mediator between that, trying to balance it. And then working with AI, sometimes I would talk to GPT. It's like, okay, we have this constraint, that constraint, and I think that this might be the proposal. That's another way. Could you help me synthesize it down? And do you have any advice? I think that's the complicated part, is the prioritization and trade-offs. And anyone who knows how to use AI and also knows how to make strategic decisions, I think those are the things that are not being, even as being replaced, the higher level things are not being replaced, because eventually human beings making the call. I hope so. If we're not making the call for everything, that's scary. But it may come, who knows?
I was going to say, it sounds like lots more meetings. Maybe that's just me. Lots more talking, meetings. Okay. In terms of implementing these new tools with OpenArt and everything else you're trying, can you share any client examples, any case studies with us, to really help people figure out how to get this going in their own practice if they're not already dialed in?
Implementing new AI tools
Yeah, something like OpenArt, if there's any clients you've had using the platform particularly successfully, or how they've navigated putting it into their process.
Yeah, let me think of an example. So all the users I've talked to are trying to do this, and what kind of example would be helpful?
I suppose anything where they're maybe overcoming challenges in their processes and you've been able to help them with that.
Sounds like most of the research
Most of it, yes.
Yeah, because every user is, I guess, to generalize it, I've seen a lot of different ways of using AI in the creative process. And one of my favorite one is one user used OpenArt to realize his dream every morning. He would have very vivid dreams, and he's like, oh, I wanted to show it to others. So he used AI to describe it and see how he can visualize his dream, and that's his creative process. But in terms of putting it into a workflow, I find that AI can, currently, a lot of people are using AI for creative exploration if they're professionals. So for designers or agencies, they usually use AI for mood boards or building things for art direction. And then for non-creative professionals, like I mentioned in the slides earlier, they usually use it for production level things. They wanted to print it on their mugs or do different things. And the process would be very different. Depends on how they're trying to use it. So that's a very generalized answer.
Yeah, no, brilliant. And what about you, Ross? Any kind of client case studies you'd like to share with us where you've kind of overcome something interesting in the workflow?
It's still early days for a client case study because we're still just knocking on that door. I've used it for storyboards, and then we've gone and shot and executed against that. And so that might be a good one to show the storyboard and then show the actual, because they were actually pretty close and it helped on casting, it helped on location scouting, it helped on understanding how many models we needed for the shoot, what was their ethnicity, what was their hairstyles, what were they wearing, all of that stuff got figured out with I was using Midjourney to do that. But I think the case study that we're going to have in a few months is that we're going to get over the hump with some of the legal issues. And, my biggest case study is I've got students coming out of school with portfolios that have a fair amount, if not entirely AI. And that is and they're a little jumping the gun. I don't know that the community out there is quite ready. And right now jobs are a little tight. So I'm basically telling them, hey, look, it's going to happen. And when it does, you guys are going to get swooped up because no other graduates have portfolios that not only demonstrate AI usage, but strategic thinking. And I think Amy had mentioned that. And I'll make this point one more time for both of us. You have to be an idea person. You saw the prompts we were putting in. You saw my prompts. I was making that stuff up. But you have to be able to ideate in your head, come up with an idea. The coolest thing about what you saw on my Meta AI was it was doing the competitive research. It was doing the demographics. It was doing a lot of that based on a pretty descriptive prompt. But you could have it to ask you those questions, fill it out like a form, give it back to it, and it'll generate whatever. By the time you do that little exercise, you're smarter because you just had to read those documents and go back and forth. I feel like, some of the critics of AI say it's making us dumber. And I'm saying, no, I know so much more now because I'm not going to read those 20 books. I'm not going to go understand all those things in a brand strategy that I need to know. I took that for granted in the past because someone did that job for me. Now I'm working with my AI partner and I'm reading that and going, oh my God, who knew all of that stuff? I didn't. And so I feel like, you're going to talk to your family and your friends. You're going to be at a cocktail party. You're going to be on an elevator. You're going to be at Starbucks. Someone's going to go, oh, AI, you suck. You're ruining the world. And I think it's really great to be armed with the knowledge that you're smarter and more informed if you've got this high IQ partner working with you. And the point that I was making with that demo is that you saw me doing the strategic work first and then the image work. You've got to educate your AI and yourself, and then you're just smarter and better. And I feel like, I'm doing it with one of my clients right now. I send them a strategy and a creative brief, and I do their decks for them, and they're like, oh my God, how did you do this? And now I'm like an invaluable partner to them because I'm writing strategy and I'm writing copy for them and doing imagery for them, and they have no clue. They know I'm using AI, but they're like, they don't really get it, and they don't really need to get it. You just need to get it. And I think it's gonna help a lot of people, move the ball forward. And then also there's gonna be a lot of people that are stuck in the mud that either don't like it, don't get it, don't use it, and they're not gonna make it in this transition, this revolution.
Going back to the move from painting to photography, absolutely. I was going to say, I want to open it out. I know we have some questions in the audience, so I'll just run you this mic if you want to stand up.
Hello, hi. It was really interesting to hear all the points that you guys mentioned. I was just actually interested about, you talked about AI making people dumb, right? So if we can use AI to make all of these things, paintings, photos, writing, music, then what do you think the young artists, do they have an incentive to train more on these? Because people can just use AI to create all of these things, right? Then why do the young artists work on their skills to get better at them? Do you think AI is going to cut short the innovation in art? Art is not going to evolve anymore because AI can just produce what it knows.
You want to go first?
Yeah, I think about that a lot, and I think that AI is definitely very helpful in helping people to create things, and it would definitely replace some of the existing talents, or even make people be less motivated to become an illustrator, or an artist or a photographer. And sometimes I personally feel sad about it because I think what's unique about a lot of the work is less about the realizing the vision or just having something visualized, but more about the unique style. And now AI has learned so much style that it can recreate a lot of styles or even remix a lot of style by combining a lot of things they have in their data set. But the uniqueness of some of the illustration style and photography style, and for photography, of course, capturing the real human moment, it's so different. So I think there's definitely a place in the world for that. And I get inspired a lot by seeing photography work based on real world human beings instead of created by AI. But I think what AI has enabled human beings to do is, if I'm someone who don't know how to paint, or I don't know how to take pictures in a very professional way, but I have a vision in my head. There is a much lower barrier for me to realize my vision and share it with the world and with creativity and ideas. It could also be very inspiring. I've been seeing a lot of AI art exhibition, and a lot of work are also as inspiring as some other artwork that's created by hand. So I think medium is no longer the most important thing. I think each medium has its place in the world. I would be sad if some medium started to go away because of how high effort it is to get training in that, but just thinking about the realistic portrait oil painting, I think that still, like, people are very proficient in it. Some artists are very proficient in it nowadays, but less and less artists compared to the days before photography is invented. So my short version of answer is, I think medium is a means to the end, and I hope that AI is empowering some creatives to create amazing art, but also my hope is it's not replacing that many original arts, because we need to have styles being created and new moments being captured.
Yeah, Sinead, you got a question back there. While we're waiting for her to walk over there, I'm going to start a new store called Only Made by Humans, and we won't sell anything made with AI. You know, that'll be the backlash opportunity if you want to go there. It'll be funny if there is sort of an anti-AI movement, because, you know, people like acoustic guitars versus electric guitars. You know, it's going to happen.
You guys are constantly searching for excellent designers. So my question is, what is your strategy for finding these excellent designers and building relationships with them in order to grow your design teams?
Well, I'm here at this meetup. I think sharing our thoughts and our team and our product to more like great designers definitely help, and then having discussions in different meetups, and also just following some of the latest trends. And I love seeing who built some of the great products. That's one of my personal strategy. It's like, oh, this product's excellent. I wonder who's the designer behind it. But I think just reaching out, connecting, not much strategy. That's the question I might ask GPT. It's like, how would you synthesize this into a strategy? Great question.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks if you're going on LinkedIn or you know, ZipRecruiter or any Indeed, whatever, looking for a job. I just was talking to a friend recently, and they said they had an open posting for a junior art director, and they got 680 applicants. And what that person said to me was, and it's pretty true, they started dividing it up amongst their team to go look through everything, and they spent about 3 seconds looking at each portfolio to decide if it was in or out. And then once they got down to like a pile of about 20 out of the 680, then they vetted those ones a little more carefully and decided, you know, who the top maybe 5 candidates are. That's how much time you have if you're showing your portfolio. 3 seconds to get me to go, yay, nay, you know. So it's, unfortunately, that's what's going on. There still is a need for designers, and especially in the junior ranks, because people, you know, in my business, I need people to help extend campaigns or do actual packaging, label design. I might have a mood board of all the AI sketches that I did, but then I need someone to go make it. And illustrators too, like elaborate handwritten typography that, you know, AI is never going to replace that, or a really, really ornate liquor bottle label. AI is not going to do that. So, you know, I would say there is hope no matter what. I think what we've seen lately is with especially in advertising, there's been kind of a shakeout. A lot of agencies have trimmed top management, especially old white guys. It's just true. So what the opportunity that's out there now, though, is to have your skill set to include AI, but also, like, if you're a designer, man, you better know typography, you better know color theory, you better be really good. I think that all of that has helped me be better at AI. I'm a classically trained designer. I've got a fine art degree in painting. I've got a degree in advertising and design from Art Center. I started my career at Nike as a designer. I was creative director at Capitol Records. I mean, like, I'm a designer, but I still use AI to write copy. I still use AI to help, figure things out and to do design. So I think you need to be like the triple threat if you're going into this new economy and this new age. Make sure that you're dialed, that you're better than everybody else in the room, or else, that 3-second litmus test isn't going to work. And it's down to that now, where, there wasn't 680 applicants pre-COVID. It just wasn't the case. And now we've flip-flopped into this situation that, honestly, if you know where you want to work and who you want to work for, which you should know the answer to that, shouldn't be just randomly applying. If you do know the answer to that, go find that person and where they're going to be, and somehow bump into them or meet them or get your work in their hands. That's the way that we did it back in the day. That's how you should do it today. Forget Indeed and LinkedIn and all that stuff. Doesn't mean you shouldn't post on LinkedIn. If you've got prolific work, people will see it. Post on your Instagram, make some TikToks, I don't know, do whatever you got to do. But I notice now that on job applications, they're asking for your Twitter feed, your Instagram, your TikTok. They want to look at all your socials and see if you're, profoundly using all that space. Maybe that's just all the tech companies, but it's a thing. So I just say, be like the best version that you can be of you. And I think classically trained typography and color and design is never going to go away. That we need that every day, all day.
I was going to say just one final question. So I've been looking at our LinkedIn live stream chat, and somebody has a question here, and they wanted to ask if you can recommend an AI program that can take a concept and increase the pixels for print work.
Oh,
Yeah?
OpenArt.
OpenArt can do
Wait.
this for you?
You mean
To upscale. So they have some concept work, and they want to upscale it for print work.
Oh, OpenArt has an amazing upscale program.
Okay, amazing.
I've tried it. I've tried so many times for some of my personal work and some of the wedding logo I'm trying to design for my friend. And I sometimes use Midjourney for some of the concept and compare it with some of the OpenArt concept, but I found that either the concepts, I would go use it with OpenArt's Ultimate Upscale, we call it. We actually have a separate entry point in the homepage because it's so good. We pulled it out so that users can find it. Ultimate Upscale, there's a precise one, there's a creative one. So the precise one won't change your work. It would just make everything have more resolution. But the creative one, you can even add a prompt. Like I was trying to upscale a logo, and I say I want some watercolor texture in the logo, and it did it for me. Even the typography looks a little nicer. So
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Jennifer says thank you on the chat.
I'm going to go try that.
thank you.
And then there's nothing else you view as Rust or anything you've tried out?
No, you can scale in Midjourney, but it's not the same. And I think there are some programs, some websites that say they can do that, but I'm going to use OpenArt.
Oh, we're going to use OpenArt. Okay, brilliant. I'm going to close it there. I feel like there is more questions. I'm sure people will come up and chat to you throughout, but thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it.
Cool. Thanks,
you.
you guys.
I was going to say, if you guys like this evening and you would like to show some support, you can find us all across the web. We're on Twitter, X, LinkedIn, Instagram at the AI User Group. If you're interested, please bring your friends, bring your colleagues. We'd love to see everybody here. Our next event, so we will have our next AI for Designers September 11th over in Spaces. Our next event will be our AI for Developers, which will be here on August 21st and Workwise. And then at the start of our series again, we'll have AI for Marketers on September 4th, back in Spaces on the street. I was going to say here, I like to do a little community open mic announcement. We already have somebody lining up for it. So if you want to make an announcement, maybe you, like OpenArt, are hiring for a job. Maybe you've got some consulting work you'd like to do. Maybe you're trying to find co-founders. Come up here, make an announcement. The stage is yours. And you can talk to our live stream too.
Thanks. My name is Michael Jabara, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of a company called Protect NIL. We're based in Las Vegas, and we're about to launch a product called Coach Bank. And Coach Bank is going to help high school and college NCAA athletes get into the NIL, name, image, likeness business, which is about 3 years old. And if anybody follows sports, they'll know what that is, which it's gone from zero to a $2.5 billion industry in 3 years. We are going to go after the non-elite athlete, the Olympic sport athlete, the track and field, the lacrosse, sailor, and help them get into the game and make a few dollars. We are going to, as a result of this, or part of this process is Coach Bank is going to help the student create profiles, a booster profile and a media kit. And we're looking for designers that could help us create templates that eventually will become much more fluid and much more generative as AI, evolves. So if you're a designer that does freelance work, I'd like to have you send your portfolio link, both UI, UX, print stuff, video stuff that we can then look at. My personal email is michael@protectnil.com. So anybody that's interested, we'd love to hear from you. That's it.
Great. Thank you, Michael. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you to you too. It was very interesting. So hi, my name is Adrian. I'm working in an AI company. So we've talked about image and sound, but we haven't done video that much. And so if any of you are like creating content out there on social media or on your platform or whatsoever, I'm working in a startup called Audial.ai. So basically what we do is deepfakes. So you can use either your own clone avatar using 2 minutes of your own footage. So you just record yourself for 2 minutes, or an avatar that we have in our library. And so these avatars are for free. The one you create with your own, of course, it takes a lot of training to do that. So if you want to try out the platform, we're onboarding our first users. And I would gladly give you extra credits so you can just do some trials on the platform. It's a bit game changer because it allows you to basically do TikToks in your bed with your clone, which is your best self usually. So yeah, just hit me up when I'm over there eating pizza. Thank you, guys.
Hi, I'm Kirsten Zerngable. I'm a professional designer, specifically like video games, theme parks. I just started my own game studio, so I'm kind of venturing into the indie game space, and I've been experimenting with AI for quite a while now, way before diffusion, and I love it. I love thinking about it. I've gotten pretty deep into it, and I've hit some pain points, and I have some ideas for tools that could help, especially for like the 3D space, game development. I've hit some pain points that I think could make viable tools, but I'm not a developer, so I'm kind of seeking developers to just kind of put our heads together and see if we can make something that can help the pipeline solve some problems. So yeah.
Hi, my name is Bhagavan. I'm the co-founder of RenderNet.ai. It's a platform similar to OpenArt, but we focus more on creating images of people, characters basically. So I can create a character called Ross or Amy, give them that name, and generate more pictures of Ross in different settings, Ross at Starbucks, Ross. So if you have a creative workflow which involves people, like creating virtual people, using them as brand ambassadors, mascots. Thousands of people actually use our tool to create something called virtual influencers. People have created thousands of Instagram pages of people who do not exist, and every day they upload images of them, and Brands approach them to do sponsorship, brand promotions. They tell stories. We have recently launched a feature called Narrative, where you can now even make them talk by giving them a voice. So if you are a creative and want to create images and videos of people doing stuff, check out rendernet.ai. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Priya, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Leica. We are building video agents that make video creation as easy as texting, but we're focused on businesses. So unlike Pika or Runway, we're not trying to replace camera-generated footage with AI-generated footage, but for businesses, we orchestrate how to communicate business, enterprise stories with animations, charts, graphs, and putting it all together. And we're in closed beta, and we would love to open it up for people who would like to try it out. We also support video creation for independent solopreneurs or consulting companies that work with large businesses, take over their video marketing. And yeah, we are also looking for designers and design engineers. So if you're interested in building agentic workflows for video specifically, definitely talk to me or my co-founder Purvanshi, who is here. But yeah, thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Michael Ryaboy, and I like to create AI tools designed specifically to go viral on social media. So right now I'm looking for designers or design engineers to collaborate with. I'm an engineer, I could build tools, but what I found is that branding and design is extremely important, especially for consumer tools. And if that's something that you're passionate about and would like a chance to create an application or help create an application that is going to hit and reach hundreds of thousands or millions of people in a very short time span, please let me know, and I'd love to work with you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andres. I am the founder of a platform called Lingo Tunes. We are creating a concept of joining the language learning world with the world of comic books, mangas, webtoons, graphic novels. So currently we're developing the concept. We are integrating different tools, and we want to integrate especially AI-generated content to initially avoid copyright problems. So start generating and exploring art and language learning needs from the users that we are getting in contact. So currently we are looking for people who would like to become part of the exploration of this concept, how this material can be used in language learning, and how comic books generated by AI can be a thing. That we know it's going to be a thing. We would like to be the one of the first actors in this space. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. That's so exciting. There's so many job opportunities, collaboration opportunities. I don't want to hold you guys up because I want you guys to get some time networking. So I will send you an email about our automation conference coming up. You'll see that tomorrow. And if anybody has had a thought about speaking or they would like to collaborate with us in some way, my email is there. Please feel free to reach out or come find me now and we can have a chat. But thank you so much for your attention. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thanks. Some potential students who are UI UX product designers who've taken AI classes, and I'll only send you grades. Like there's, because I mean,
I'm interested in being a speaker.
they all take AI
And the
class,
funny
and
thing
the
is,
UI UX
on the 11th,
students are
I'm
the
literally
best.
flying out to be a speaker somewhere else.